Hello, welcome to Shake Off the Chains with Which You're Bound, a food addiction recovery group. My name is Nicole Dick. I am the host and the facilitator, and I'm not going to give too much of an introduction about myself now because I have a lot of things I want to talk to you about as we kick off this 12 weeks together. And you're going to get to know me probably way more than you ever wanted to know as we walk through this group with each other. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to do kind of the basics first. And then I want to talk about like planning time to do this. We're going to have like a screen flow of like how to walk through the group inside of Facebook, kind of a tour of the addiction recovery book. And yeah, and also I want to just thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. You showing up like this, deciding to do this is a huge deal. It is a big deal. And I want you to know that, and I want you to feel that and congratulate yourself for that. So yay us, yay us. Okay, so first off, I want to start with this is an addiction recovery group. And so by being in this group, you're making a pledge of confidentiality. What is said and shared in this group stays in this group. And if that's something that's hard for you, I really want you to rethink being in this group. Having that said, I understand that sometimes we need to process the things that we experience together or things that people share with us. We need to process that. So you're always welcome to call me, Nicole, your sponsor, and we can talk about it. Or you're also welcome to talk about it with a significant other. But make sure when you share, you are not sharing details that could identify the person. Now, a lot of us in this group, we don't know each other. We are coming from all over the country. But obviously the world is small because you know me. So when you're processing this with a significant other, please make sure you aren't using any words or phrases or sharing characteristics of that person that then they could be identified. So we are pledging to confidentiality. We're pledging to honesty. We are pledging to be vulnerable and be ourselves. The next thing that I want to talk about is conduct. Confidentiality is a part of that, so is empathy. So in the course materials, I will link a video to Brene Brown talking about empathy. And this is kind of like, what are the words that we say to each other? We want to make sure we aren't saying cliches that when we're trying to be helpful are actually hurting each other. Also, you will find in the group a pledge of nonviolence. By being a part of this group, you are pledging to this beautiful pledge of nonviolence. You're welcome to go through it and read it. But it's basically about being kind to each other, being kind to animals, and being kind to the earth. All right, so the next thing that I want to make sure that you understand, this is a food addiction recovery program. It doesn't mean that other addiction stuff won't come up for us, but that's my experience. I cannot be your sponsor for AA or anything like that because that's not my story. But I can help you with food addiction. And if you do have those other things, not that you aren't welcome here, but I don't have the expertise to help you. And so if any of those things come up, just know that I'm probably going to refer you to someone else because that's out of my expertise. Also, let's see, I want you to know that this is not a diet. We are not following a diet in this group, okay? We are here because we're having struggles with following diets. So this is not a diet. Do I believe that your diet, nutrition, exercise will change along this course? Yes, that is my hope, because I personally believe that behaviors come in packages. And that's one reason why we aren't adhering to a diet in this, because as you work and heal things yourself, those things are going to naturally happen. You're naturally going to start eating healthier. You're naturally going to start moving your body more because you're healing other parts inside of yourself. So I believe that you will do better when you know better. And you might hear that and be like, well, I know all about nutrition and I know all about exercise in my body, but you aren't doing better because it's about knowing ourselves better and healing ourselves. So I firmly believe that you will do better when you know better. So it's okay to not be so focused on your nutrition and your movement right now. There is a place in this group for recipes where you can write your recipes and share recipes in the comments. I believe that can be a very fun and helpful thing for each other as we are growing and healing and trying new things or sharing things that have already worked for us. There's a place for us in the group to go ahead and do that. So right now I am a nutrition coach and lifestyle coach. And so I want to give you my top 3 kind of tips of advice here that have really helped me and helped a lot of other people. The first tip that I want to give is I want to introduce you to a product called Shakeology. And there's a reason why I'm talking about this, okay? The reason that I'm talking about this is, one, whenever we diet and stuff, we're always like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this. This is something that you can do. So it's not about taking things out of your life. This is one step that all you have to do is add something to your life once a day. And Shakeology, it's not a protein shake. It has a lot of protein in it, but it's not a protein shake. It's not a meal replacement shake. Yes, you could use it to replace a meal, but you're probably going to be a little hungry. What this is literally like a super dense nutrition shake or juice, depending however you want to make it. And so it is jam-packed with over 70 superfoods. And why this is so important, that have been dehydrated down, so it's whole foods. Like if you were to leave this bag open, it would rot if you didn't store it properly, and it has an expiration date. So because it is a whole food. And what's different about this product than other ones on the market, like I'm a huge fan of Juice Plus. Like I love their vitamins. They also have a shake. What makes us different is theirs is mainly fruits and vegetables that are dehydrated down and made into this shake. This is superfoods. So these are things you are not going to eat on a normal basis. Even if you eat a completely raw diet, 100% raw diet, nothing even cooked, just fruits and vegetables, you will not get the things that you get in Shakeology because we don't eat 70 different superfoods every single day, right? We don't even have access to those in this country. And the ones that we do are like crazy expensive. And so this actually works as a vitamin. If you drink this every day, this is like your vitamin. You don't have to take a vitamin. And I love it. And why this is one of my number 1 tips is because it's something that doesn't take much effort that you can add to your lifestyle. That even if you didn't change anything else about your eating or anything else about your movement, you are doing your body a huge favor just by drinking this every single day. I am affiliate with this company, so you're welcome to purchase it from me or from someone else. I don't really care. I just want to encourage you to do it because I believe that it will help improve your health and your life. The second tip, so the first tip is Shakeology. The second tip is water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So kind of like the rule or the principle is to drink half your weight in ounces of water every single day. So if you weighed 200 pounds, your goal is to drink 100 ounces of water every single day. This is something that I've trained myself to do. I have a whole group on learning how to do this. So if you need some help, I can help you there. But I actually drink more than half my weight in ounces of water. I drink around about a gallon of water every single day. And it's so automatic for me now that I don't even think about it. It just happens. But water is so great. It's going to help move things through your body. It's going to help you regulate your temperature. So if you're too hot or too cold and can't fix it, drink some water. they're just, drinking water is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. So, Shakeology, water, and my third piece of advice is portions. And you can learn portions. You can just Google like portions according to my hand, and then it'll say like, oh, the amount of protein you should eat should be the size of your fist. So that's one way to do it. Measure things out. I have these really cool, these are from Beachbody too. I only brought a few of them out, but there's a lot of them. And so like this, I know I don't have to measure anything. I just know that I need this many vegetables a day, or it'll tell me according to my weight, to my goals and everything, how many of each containers of food I should be eating each day. So this one I believe is healthy fats. The orange is healthy fats. So I know that I should have 1 or 2 of these a day. And the reason I recommend these is because using these for a few months, I'm going to take a drink of water. Using these consistently for a few months, I was able to learn so much about my portions that now I don't even need to measure these. I can eyeball all of my foods. But portions are so great. So instead of like, oh, I need to change what I need to eat, just like maybe focus on your portions first. That's my advice. And then the other thing I want to talk about is exercise or movement. You know, if you feel like taking a walk, take a walk. If you feel like exercising, let's say it's 10 o'clock at night, you're getting ready to go to bed, but you're like in the mood to exercise, go exercise. Don't worry about sleep. Your body will figure it out. And so as you feel moved and have more of a desire to implement these new healthy things into your life, movement or nutrition, water, Shakeology, whatever it is, just do it. Just do it. According to, when you're feeling it, you do it, okay? This program is not a diet. The other thing that I want to share with you is, how, 21 days to start or break a habit. That's a myth. That's a complete lie. Go ahead and Google it. You'll read tons of scientific articles that's not true. It takes way longer than 21 days. So much longer. I think the average is like in the 80s of how many days to make something a habit. What that came from was this study that this person did. It wasn't even on habits or anything like that. I should have read this before I made this. This person did this study. I want to say it had to do with mental health. It didn't have to do with habits. But whatever he was trying to teach his people in his little study, one person it took 21 days, one person it took like 212 days. The majority of the people it took like 80 some days, okay? But then he came out and published this study and said, oh, it takes 21 days to build this new habit. Everybody loves it because it sounds long enough to maybe be true, but short enough to be like that people will try it. But the reason that I share this with you is I don't want you to become so frustrated with yourself. Like, oh, I keep doing this and I keep trying this and it's not working. I want you to be gentle with yourself. I want you to love yourself, love on yourself, and say, hey, it's okay. You know what? It doesn't need to take me 21 days because that's a lie anyway. And I also really want you to set aside time of when you're going to do the work for this group, okay? When you're going to watch the videos, when you're going to check in and do the readings, when you're going to make comments, when you're going to comment on other people's stuff, when you are going to do your journal assignments. And the reason I tell you to set aside time is because this is hard work and it's a lot of emotional work. And the only way you're going to change is if you put in effort and if you participate. Please do not shortchange yourself. Like, you deserve this. You deserve to find healing and to live a better life. You really do. You are worth that. And the journaling part is going to be the most time consuming. So I want you to schedule time for that. Know when you're going to do it in the week. Know Make sure your household knows when you're going to do this. And I want you to be conscious of how you bookend the work, meaning what am I doing right before and what I'm doing right after I do this heavy emotional work. Like, am I going to go for a walk first to get my brain kind of rolling? Do I need to take a nap or go to bed after I do this emotional work? And it's important to look at the bookends because you don't want to become too overwhelmed. And like, for example, like, oh, I need to do my journal questions and I do this heavy emotional work and then I have to go to work. That's not going to help me perform better at work because I personally know I generally do it before bed because my brain needs to sleep. My brain needs to sleep. So just be conscious of your bookends of how you spend your time before and after you do this emotional work. The other thing I want to touch on right now is we will be doing a weekly call every week. And it's a Zoom call. Don't worry about it. I'll explain it when it comes. But it means that you can see me and I can see you on the computer. Okay? And this is our time when we come together. We really get to know each other. We ask questions. We speak truth. We speak our truth. We share our stories. And this is where a lot of the healing is going to take place. So please make this a priority. Make this a priority in your life. And I'll be announcing each week when it will be. Hopefully it will be consistent that it will be the same time and same day every single week. Anyway, so now what I'm going to move you into is the screen flow of the group on Facebook, how to navigate it, and then the screen flow of the tour of the workbook. So we'll see you soon. If you have any questions, please post them below. And I love you, and I'm so happy that you're here. Okay, so what you are looking at right now is our group, our addiction recovery group on Facebook. And I'm just making this screen flow here, kind of going to give you a tour of what the group looks like and how to navigate it on the inside. And also, I'm going to give you kind of a tour and some explanation for the workbook, the addiction recovery workbook that we will be using. So you can see this beautiful picture. This is actually my family right here. I think that might be my mom, my sister, my brother-in-law, sister, their dog, my dad right there. So we're on the beach in Oregon, off the Oregon coast right here this was last summer, so summer of 2016. And I've titled this group, Shake Off the Chains with Which You're Bound. And that's from a scripture. And now I'm super embarrassed because I meant to look it up before I started this and totally forgot. So this is our food addiction recovery program. And you don't actually have to have an addiction to food to be in this group. This is for anyone who just wants to improve their relationship with nutrition and their body. And this is a secret group. And so what that means is that everything inside of this group is private. No one can see it unless they are a member of this group. Even if you were to, let's scroll down here, even if you were to like, oh, I love this video, I want to share it with my friends. So you press share, it will share it and post it on your timeline, but no one will be able to see it but you unless they are in this group. So everything you share in here stays in here. So then up here, this says join. So if you ever decide to leave the group, you can just leave group. If you click unfollow group, you're still in the group, but nothing from the group will ever show up in your news feed. So if you wanted to look at anything, you would have to hop into the group. Notifications, this is how often you want to see when people post. I would just keep it on all posts. Like, we want to really change, and so we want to be engaged in this group as much as possible. And over here, mostly this is my stuff. So you want to click pin from shortcuts. Right now mine is in shortcuts, so that's why it says unpin. And what if you do this, it's going to bring you over here to the left side and put it over here. So you hop onto Facebook, you just click, oh, I want to go into this group, and here you are. You don't have to go searching for it. That's what it means to put it in your shortcuts. So then down below we have the discussion bar. So this is going to be the news feed of the group. And how this is going to work is whatever has the most recent activity on it is what's going to be at the top. So this is at the top right now, 3.2, because I just posted it. But if I were to come down here to this Pledge of Nonviolence and be like, oh my gosh, let's say I make a comment and be like, this is so beautiful, or I like it, then this will pop to the top of the news feed, the discussion feed, okay? And it will be on the top instead. And so what I will do each day, this video that you're watching now, I will have pinned to the top, which is something that only I can do. So it will always show at the top, or whatever day's activity that I want you to look at it or read, I will pin to the top, so it will always be to the top. But when something is pinned to the top, if you are on a tablet or a phone, you will have a little thing like under this little bar here, kind of in between here, that will say view pinned post. You will have to click on it to view that post, if that makes sense, hopefully. So then if you click on members, it will show you the list of everyone that's in this group. And so if you want to friend them or whatever, this is a really easy way to do that. Photos, this is all the photos that I've posted. Not real exciting, but if you come to albums, I have made a photo album of all the 12-step cards and mirror mantras. So if you want to come in here, print them out, that's sweet. You're welcome to do that. Okay, so then photos, we're in there, files. This is really important. This is where you're going to find your course materials and your table of contents. Let's start with the course materials. So in here is where you will find the link to your workbook and the MP3 of it. And we will actually come back to this part because I'm going to give you a little tour of that. Also, it just tells you how to access the 12-step cards and mirror mantras. I haven't added this yet, access to Beachbody on Demand, but I'll probably post a link there as well. Okay. Table of contents. So first off, this pretty picture. Remember to take your assignment seriously. Your recovery will be a direct result of your participation. Do not shortchange yourself. You will see these sentences, these 2-3 sentences a lot because it's true. So here is the table of contents. Here we have those 12-step cards, the introduction overview, which is this video, the Nonviolence Manifesto, and here we have each step broken down. So 1.0, step 1, honesty, 1.0, that will be the mirror mantra and just kind of like getting us off on what the step is for that. Then 1.1 is the introduction. So like this is what you're going to read in the workbook, and a video. And then 1.2 are always going to be the action steps. And my video that I made, Study and Understanding 1.3, that will be the journal questions. And so this is written out for each step. So for example, I'm going to hop out of this, search this group. Let's say I wanted to search step 7, the introduction, or like the mirror mantra for step 7. I just type it into this search bar right here and it pops up. How awesome is that? Let's say I want to watch the video from step 11.1. Look, there that is, Lindsay's story about recovery and what pages to work in the workbook. Or I want to see Nicole's video, I think it's 1 point, from step 3. I'm just going to type that in there and take a look. Oh, here's Nicole's video that she made for step 3. So this way you can easily, I'm going to hop back into table of contents, navigate this on your own, and all the materials already in there. So if you want to work ahead or if you get behind or whatever, you have access to everything, and here's a way that you can easily find it. Also, there's a place where we can post healthy recipes, or We can post songs for a recovery playlist. So let's see. What was that, 0.04? This wasn't working for me earlier, so I'm just going to try it. Oh, yes, it is working. Sweet. So if you have a healthy recipe that you want to share anytime during the group, come down here and post it in the comments. This is a way, posting things in the comments is a way to keep us organized versus just posting in the group itself. Okay, so I think that is all I want to share about this tour. So let's go inside to the course materials, and I am going to take you to the link where you can download the PDF, and I'm going to kind of give you an introduction to the workbook that we're going to be using. So I chose this workbook for a few different reasons. So let's see, here the PDF, we want it in English. See, it comes in all of these languages. If you speak them, you're welcome. Down here you click on the thing for the audios that you would like to download, and you can download it in English, Spanish, Portuguese, apparently. That's cool. So I'm going to come up here and click on the under PDF, A Guide to Addiction Recovery and Healing in English. And so then it will pop up, and you can come up to the top here. You can download it so you have it saved to your computer and you can print it off. So I want to talk a little bit about why I chose this. So this is a guide to addiction recovery and healing. It's the addiction recovery program that is put out by the LDS Church. I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I was really familiar with this, and I have gone through this personally about 6 times now, roughly. And so I love it for many different reasons. One of the reasons is because it's not specifically for food addicts, and it's not specifically for alcoholics. It's kind of like a blanket. You can have any addiction and walk through this program. And I like that for a few reasons. One, because I didn't have to kind of retransfer everything that says about alcoholics to people with food addictions. But I believe that addictions come in packages. Behaviors come in packages, and that includes addictions. Like, how many times have you heard someone who's addicted to alcohol? They finally, get help with that, and now they're smoking, and they're finally getting help with that, and so now they're overeating, and they're trading one addiction for another. And for me, something that not only addiction with food, I think one behavior that comes in that is addiction to convenience. So there's a lot of things that play into each other. I don't think this is super simple. And so that's one reason, another reason why I chose this. So then if you come into this, what you're going to see on this page in the little tiny letters is this program in the church is based off of the original 12 steps from Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, and that's what it talks about here, and how we have permission to use it. And it tells us just a little bit about AA as well. So AA, it is a spiritual program, but it's not affiliated with a specific religion. But any addiction recovery program you come across will always make use of a higher power. And so as you can see, here are the 12 steps from the AA written out, and it refers to God. And that's because we need a power higher than ourselves. You do not have to believe in God for this, to do this program with us, but you do have to be using a higher power as a source of spiritual healing for yourself for this program. So another word, and so if you just go over here, here's the 12 steps in the pages table of contents, and here it is, this is very similar wording. There aren't that many changes to where it's written. The 12 steps are written out, so you can compare if you want to. Pretty much the same thing. Another thing that I want to share is like, you don't have to be LDS. You don't have to be a member of the Mormon Church to be a part of this program. It does use some LDS language, but I feel like you're going to be okay. And if you have any questions or are confused, you can ask me about it, but you're going to be fine. And another thing too, it's okay if you don't use the same language as me. Maybe you don't believe in God, but you believe in the universe. I believe in your ability and your intelligence and your maturity for you to do your own translation. So like, let's see, step 2, come to believe that the power of God can restore you to complete spiritual faith. I believe in your ability. Like, you are a smart human being to read that in your own language. Come to believe the power of the universe can restore you to complete spiritual health. See, you can do that on your own. It is not my job to do that for you. I am here to be the most authentic human being that I can be, so I can be the best teacher, okay? And so I'm going to use my own language, and you can do the work of translation. Okay, so then here's just an introduction to the book. It's really short. It's just this long. And so basically it's saying, this was written with an LDS audience in mind, but anyone can use it. And it was also, this program was also created to attend a recovery group every single week, like in the flesh, in a physical location. But you can also use it by yourself, one-on-one, with a professional counselor. I'm using it for this group. And then it talks about who it was written by right here. So the main writers of this program are addicts in recovery, okay? People who are in the trenches, okay? And then it also was written a tiny bit by leaders of the LDS Church and professionals in the counseling field. Then it goes on to talk a little bit. They just shared their testimony about the healing power of Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. And then it talks a little bit here about addictions. It talks about how sometimes people get confused about thinking that addictions are just bad habits that they need to break free from. But how addictions are so much more than that. Okay, now I'm going to go off on a little tangent here and tell you a little bit more about addictions. Okay, so that you won't find this in the book. So addictions, scientifically, okay, it's hereditary. Having an addict brain, it's in your genes or it's not in your genes. Okay, it's in your DNA or it's not. So the addict brain is something that is passed down from parent to child, parent to child, parent to child. But just because it's in your DNA doesn't mean you're going to be an addict. And it doesn't mean that you're going to have the same addiction that your mother or father or grandparents had. For example, I know it's in my DNA. My grandparents, for a number of generations, were all alcoholics. It stopped with my parents. My parents never drank, and they didn't have it in our home. So therefore, it's harder for me to become an alcoholic unless I had sought it out or was exposed to it in some time in my life. But it doesn't mean that I don't carry the addict gene, okay? So for an example, maybe the grandparents were alcoholics, and then the child, or then there's the parents, whatever, maybe it doesn't appear that they have any addictions. And then the 12-year-old grandson, the boy, he still has it, the addict brain. He's exposed to pornography when he's 12 and ends up becoming addicted to pornography. Does that make sense? But it doesn't, just because we may carry the addict gene doesn't mean that we're going to become an addict. Like right now in my life, I can tell you for sure I'm not addicted to food. One point in my life, it's kind of sketchy looking back. I feel like I have a lot of the symptoms or whatever, and behaviors. You'll hear more about my story as we go along, but I honestly don't know if I've ever been a food addict. But here, addictions can be anything. The last paragraph, it can be addicted to substances, tobacco, alcohol, coffee, tea, drugs, illegal or prescription. Addictions can also be behaviors like gambling, codependency, pornography, sex, disorders with eating, okay, which is what we're focusing on here. And so addictions can be a lot of things, and generally behaviors come in packages. People can have more than one addiction. So we're going to scroll down here, and they just close, talking more about the Savior Jesus Christ. And then this is where we're going to get into each of the steps. So like on one day, you'll be assigned just to read the introduction, which is just this part. And then you have action steps, which is kind of like, okay, what can you do this week? And then down here, study and understanding are going to be the journal questions, okay? Now, this is where the real work is going to be. You will spend more time on your journal questions than you will anything else. And I really want you to take this seriously, because when you journal and write things down, that provides data for you. That then you can figure out, what am I working with here? What's going on inside of me? So really schedule your time so that you are spending the majority of your time on your journal questions. Don't leave this for the last minute. So then I just want to say a note about, in the study and understanding section, they often give scriptures or quotes and then ask you a question based off of that. And these are fabulous. Oh my goodness. That's another reason why I chose this program. Like, this really cuts to the heart of things and like really gets you to learn and understand about yourself. Now, it uses verses of scripture from the Holy Bible, so the New Testament and the Old Testament. You can also call the Old Testament the Hebrew Bible. And it also uses scripture from the Book of Mormon. Now, here's the thing about this. Like I said earlier, maybe you don't believe in God, but you believe in the universe, okay? Maybe you don't believe in the Bible and or the Book of Mormon. You don't have to let these be tools for you, okay? I'm in divinity school right now. I read a lot of sacred text that I don't consider to be in my scripture canon. So if the Bible's not your thing or the Book of Mormon's not your thing, look at this and read it as literature and what can you learn from it, okay? And if you're not down with that, you don't have to be in this group, you guys. You can leave anytime. But I really hope that you come to this with an open heart and just be like, hey, here's some awesome resources that can actually help me heal. Okay, so as you can see, it says 2nd Nephi. That's from the Book of Mormon. You scroll down. I know there's more in step 2. Let's see. Proverbs, I see. Here we have Hebrews, which is the Old Testament. We have Mark, which is the New Testament. We have Alma, which is from the Book of Mormon. So it uses lots of different sacred text. And so I think that's pretty much the tour of this. So, all right. If you have any questions, please let me know.